on YouTube, and we are live on Instagram. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the weekly track help session on the KTips Academy. I'm looking forward to starting off tonight by asking Harry and Jacob in the meet, and of course the viewers on our live, who has a PlayStation and who has Gran Turismo 7? Guys.
I have neither.
Okay,
Yes,
Harry?
I'm.
Neither. So what do you guys do gaming on?
I use my PC.
PC, okay, I like it. Jacob?
I only really do mobile gaming.
Mobile gaming, okay. Well, starting from next week, we're going to be doing a weekly karting meetup on the Gran Turismo 7 game using the karting mode. Now, we're throwing it back to what I like to call the QKC Lockdown Challenge. Let's share my screen, give you an idea of what on earth you're talking about. Lockdown? That sounds like it's a few years ago. Indeed, it is. So obviously, when the whole world shut down for a few months, we could not go karting. And we said, why don't we meet up on a GT Sport lobby? This is obviously the previous game. And then do some racing. Not only did we make it a regular thing, I think it was a couple of times a week we did this during I think it was March until October 2020. It became a proper league. We had people from all over the world joining, UK, Colombia, you can see from the flags, Middle East, of course. And it's very, very simple to enter. If you got a PlayStation, if you got a Gran Turismo sport game, what GT7 is now, you can join us. Now, we're going to be doing it every week, basically a format of practice, and then we'll hop into like a qualifying and a race, just a bit of fun. That's your chance to race me, not in real life, virtually. And also, a lot of people have mentioned, look, karting is too expensive. I can't go every week. I go once a month. I go once every few months. This is a great alternative. So when you have a game which you can practically play at, your convenience, it's semi-realistic. Of course, we're not competing with iRacing, but we're not trying to at the end of the day. This is very much an entry-level option, and we look forward to adding that. Hopefully, at the moment, we're planning on Saturdays to do like a weekly meetup there. So let's go ahead to the main discussion of today, and that's obviously track help for Jacob, Harry, and I believe it's going to be Jeremy, who we're waiting for. You can see that these drivers have mentioned a YouTube link and a quick description of what they want to review. Jacob wants to go over some indoor footage. Jeremy wants to go over some of his Sandown footage, where I believe he missed out on the race win. And then Harry's also uploading some Club 100 footage. So we're going to start with Jacob. If Jeremy still doesn't join, we're going to go ahead to Harry, and then hopefully we'll get a chance to round off with Jeremy. Keep your comments coming in. We got on Instagram, what's up to Ayman? What's up to Taha? What's up to Tamim? We hope to support you guys in the next round of F4. Tamim and Taha, you guys are doing very, very well. Let me bring up the clip over here, and we're going to go over to YouTube chat in just a moment whilst this ad just ends. And now we can share our link. So on YouTube, what Lando Norris fan. What helmet is it? Let us know in the chat. Is it a Sparko, OMP? Is it a Arai, Bell? And you said you got a question. So go for your question as well. Hopefully when we get a chance, I'm going to be answering that as well. Jacob, this is E1, which we're back at. Is this your home track, you can say? It's local to you?
No, it's different, Ivan, and this is not my footage. I only went there for holidays. It's actually quite far for me.
Okay.
So I didn't bring my camera.
Honestly, this track we reviewed with another driver some time back. What was his name? I think it was Ethan, his name was. And alongside that, we got Jacob. Now, Jacob is one of the top drivers at Poland, and we did a detailed track guide of this. I'm going to actually share you that link because I want you to get his insight. But the key things I want to cover in today's review of this video are some of those points we recapped before. It's a very, very tricky layout altogether. And one of the most challenging corners is probably what's coming up through here. It's a left, into a tighter left, into an extremely tight left, right? Certain corners like this and combinations can catch you out. What's up to Butter in the chat as well? We hope to support you guys later this month. As I was telling Tamim and Taha, Lando Norris fan on YouTube is saying, I got an OMP suit. Is it a good suit? I think any suit which is from a brand like OMP, Sparco, Alpine Stars is great as an entry level. Which specific model is it? Let us know. Obviously, depends on the type of karting you're doing, right? If you just want to save yourself, save your clothes from oils, petrols, yeah, this is going to do the job. And honestly, you should take care of it, wash it regularly. It'll also be quite comfortable for you. So a tight fit is good indeed. Let's go back to Jacob, though. Excuse me, Jacob. I keep confusing the two of you. And talk me through specific corners at this track. You've obviously had some experience at it so far.
Yeah.
What is the good? What is the bad? What is the ugly?
Corners or
corners, combinations, anything you felt from your experience of driving.
No, I think that the hardest corners were the downstairs hairpins.
Okay, that's a good point.
And is the downstairs didn't nearly have as much grip as the one in the Chorzów. It actually had, I think, maybe even lower grip than the upstairs or similar.
Okay. Well, we're going to get to the hairpins similar to how we discussed for the last E1 track a couple of weeks ago. Main thing I want to highlight straight away, which is specific to these tracks, is that surface change. So you're saying the downstairs portion, which we're just transitioning from, is more grip or less grip? What was your feeling?
Like a bit more, but still it's pretty low because like the upstairs is really low grip.
Yeah.
So I think the downstairs is a bit more, but it's still not much.
Pink is a bit more grip, and then the yellow part, which is the darker portion, that's where it gets a lot less. If we look at this lap, for example, it's of one of the experienced drivers, Matthias, if I've said that correctly. It looks like they're doing some kind of endurance practice session, and the grip will most certainly change in these scenarios. You see, when you're doing constant laps or almost an endurance style practice, everyone's driving on the same line, you're practically bumper to bumper. There's going to be a lot more grip, which allows you to go faster, which means in some corners, you might need a bit more braking because you're carrying that much more speed. That's a quick lap at 53.3. If we just observe the first portion of the lap, which is all the downhill section, the downstairs section, which eventually goes to downhill. How's this first sector for you? Are you taking it pretty much flat out? If you remember the last time?
Yes, it's flat.
Yeah.
This is really bumpy because you have to turn right as it straightens, right as you come out from the no. And there's the section where it goes a bit down and then a bit up.
Yeah, we're going to get to that. I just want to make a point though, because I remember when we discussed this with Jacob that time, he mentioned based on his experience, you have to get this first sector right, and it sort of decides the lap. So the sort of approach that you take, you're trying to go high risk, flat out, and don't try and compromise the line too much. Just try to be on the limit of grip. Again, as less corrections as possible. I think it's a great observation we can make of the onboard driver, how committed he is. If we just watch his steering inputs, turn 1, turning just before this checkered flag, holding that amount of steering angle, and then opening up slightly as he comes out. The next steering input is to the right, fixed amount to the turn 2, immediately transitions into his third steering input, which is going to be to the left now. You can see there's no correction, so there's no left, right, left, right. He's very, very sure about what he's going to be doing. As we said, you need to be sure like that when your foot is 100% on the gas through here. What do you notice in terms of the gap to the apex? Is he far or is he close?
Close.
Yeah, he's very, very close. And at indoor tracks, this is always the reference you want to use. Am I close to the inside barriers? Now, you're not going to have curbs, or very rarely do you have curbs similar to outdoor and indoor tracks. So just try to get as close to the barriers as possible. These paint markings over here in white acts as a nice reference. That's your curb. This is the portion you're talking about then, yeah? Where we go down and then it's coming up to the left as well, right?
Yeah.
What were you saying about this sequence?
You need to turn right as you go back up.
Yep.
You need to turn right in the surface transition.
Mm-hmm.
It like really unsettles the kart.
That's a very good point. You can see here, it's the darker patch. Oh, you know what? Yeah, let's call it that. The gray patch, you can say over here. And what I'm going to explain now, if I can get the correct pen up, is the shiny patch, right? This is the reflective material. And then immediately changes again, which is interesting, right? Back to the gray patch. So what's your current approach through this left-hand corner? Was it also flat and like a sharp turn?
Yes, it's flat, and you need to turn right as it transitions back to the gray surface.
Interesting. So you have to open up the corner, you're saying? Slightly on the exit. Yeah. Preparing now for the hairpins. And this is, I guess, where your main doubt was. We got a sharp right and then into a sharp left. Let's observe the footwork of the onboard driver in 24. Coming up to the first hairpin. This is obviously the corner where you're approaching at the most speed and you want to get on the brakes. I know you drove it a while back, but do you remember establishing any braking points?
It was actually early. It was this week.
Okay. Oh, it was this week. Okay, perfect. Was there any exact braking reference you were using, maybe on the left side or some kind of a barrier?
No, but this was, I think, the hardest turn because it was hard to not spin under brakes.
Yeah, and it's so easy to do that because, again, the amount of speed you're carrying over here into the fast left and the time you have to straighten up the wheel. You can see the onboard driver is, just about straightening up, and already it's time to apply his brakes and go for a turn. That's why this corner, the key would be, if you want to start out, slow in faster is always nice. Brake earlier than you feel. That's a sure way to avoid spinning and get decent exit speed. Now, of course, the more and more laps you do, the later and harder you want to get your braking. But I would start off early, then get your braking later and later to the point where you feel the momentum is stopping. So if you observe the input that he's doing, he's going for relatively soft braking. I don't see much rotation in terms of his steering. So he's not necessarily using the brakes to turn because he's still applying 45 degrees of steering angle, but that could be his style. One important thing to know, once again, it's taking a relatively mid, maybe late. I'd say a mid apex he's taking for this hairpin. What we got to understand for this type of corner, it's a double hairpin. We got our braking done for the first part. Now we're back on the accelerator. We're building up speed. Realistically, how much speed are we going to build up to the next hairpin? A lot or a less?
Less.
Yeah, less speed. There's literally a short stretch. So what you want to try to do, and if we try to interpret what this onboard driver is doing, from the middle of the track, he's now going to try to open up the corner slightly just to have a wide entry. You can see how from the middle of the track, he goes slightly wide. Slightly wide means 3/4 away, or rather 3/4 away from the inside edge. Again, not too wide where he's all the way at the outside line. His speed is low, that's why he doesn't need to waste that many meters. Slightly wide entry, steering input, sharp early turn, or relatively sharp early turn. Fixed angle of steering, so he's holding that, he's holding that, he's holding that. And again, a very nice middle apex. That's what he's able to achieve. On exit, look in front of us. Is there much runoff over here?
No.
Yeah, if there's spectators sometimes, they might be able to touch your karts if they put their hands out. But it's so tight. So you have to really find the balance in this corner. I would say to be fast on the second hairpin, which we're coming up to, you really have to get the slowing down done, the braking right for the first hairpin. Make sure you don't overdo this part. So again, as we said, try to have the mindset. Let me start with the early brake. Go for a controlled amount of steering input and rotation. Ideally, get on the brakes just before, not the brakes, get on the accelerator just before the apex. Use a relative amount of track on exit of the first hairpin. You can see we're coming out to the middle. Now that our speed is still building up, we're accelerating. No need to waste meters. Stay 3/4 away from the inside edge. Honestly, in this portion, combined with that early turn-in, I'd be leaning over here, putting that load on the outside tires. Were you leaning at all?
No, there were seatbelts.
Yeah, that always makes it tricky. I agree. Recently, I drove some biz karts, which they force you to put the seatbelts on, and you're quite limited, but go with the flow, go with the natural force. Intentionally try to put load on the outside tire. This will help you with rotation, and also, whilst you do that, sharp early turn, lean out, keep your foot pinned to the floor. It's about finding that sweet spot. So what you'll notice, if you do it right, this corner, flat out, sharp turn, lean out. Let me just rewind over here. Watch his steering inputs, flat out, lean out, sharp turn. It's very, very smooth. If you feel you're slightly over the limit, your steering input will become slightly shaky. You might do corrections. You might go left, right, or you might be sliding in a tilt. Listen out for sound of the tires. These are all different cues you can do. But one more time to recap. This second hairpin, I think the next time you go, approach it with a slow in, fast out approach, right? Sacrifice a bit of time on the first hairpin, get the line hooked up well, acceleration before the apex. So we can take this corner flat out, the second hairpin, and this is really where you're going to gain that exit speed if you can get the line right, just like the onboard driver. Stay within this white line.
Here I almost always got some oversteer on the exit.
Yeah,
the second.
That's a great point. What you can try, I mean, in terms of your entry at the moment, are you doing similar to what the onboard driver is doing? How wide are you entering?
Yeah.
So what you can do is either go for more aggressive turn-in. So what we want to do is try to get, even if it's oversteer, an aggressive early turn-in means you get the oversteer on the early part of the corner. So on the mid part over here, then we're just trying to correct that oversteer. And by the exit, we can be neutral. That's one way. Otherwise, if you're constantly just not getting into the flow of it, you might have to apply a slight lift. But this lift we're going to go for is a 50% lift, right? So on the accelerator pedal, we're not going to be coming off all the way. We're actually going to be coming off 50%. And you've got to feel that in terms of your throttle modulation. Any other questions before we move on to the next driver?
No.
Jacob. I think that's a solid debrief about those two hairpins. Keep slow and fast out as your initial approach next time you go. And then once you hook up that line and you're going quite smooth, then maybe start to experiment with a later break. Yeah. Awesome. What's up, Jeremy? Welcome back to Track Help.
Hello.
What's up to Rida? Welcome back.
Hi.
Let's just go through a couple of comments which came on Instagram. We had a couple of people chatting about junior road tax and how they're going to be buying their karts. We had a few people on YouTube as well discussing how they've got outdoor karting. What Lando Norris fan is saying, my next race is Thursday. Can you give me good luck? Well, all the best for that and enjoy it more than anything.
Good
I understand
luck,
you're sorry?
I said good luck.
Absolutely. There you go. And if you're a Lando Norris fan, watch some of those epic montages on YouTube or TikTok to hype yourself up and pretend you're Lando out on the track. Have a bit of fun like that. Just to recap, guys, this Track Help session is on the KTips Academy. It's free to join. It's on the KTips website. Head over there, be part of this wonderful community with drivers all over the world. We've got a weekly Track Help session, which is obviously what you're watching. And you can submit your karting footage like Rida did, like Jacob's done, Jeremy did, and Harry did, of course. Even a track map, even some karting questions that you've got. So you can come on here, have a chat, get your footage and questions answered by experienced drivers. It's completely free to join. So head over to the KTips website. What we're going to do is go over to Jeremy's footage since he's here now, and then we're going to round off with Harry's footage. Is that fine, Harry?
Yeah, it's all good.
Awesome. Jeremy, I heard you had an eventful Saudi, is it D40 you did this time?
Yeah.
Well, you're becoming a regular now with those D40 races. How many times have you done this so far? Third time, I think?
Second time, yeah.
Second time, okay.
Your mic's gone. KTips.
Yeah, your mic's
You're in the
really
car
weird.
there. You're back now.
Am I back now?
Yeah, but it just cut out for the first half of
Okay. I was just saying, not only are you becoming a regular, you're regularly improving your qualifying positions. This time P2 on the grid. Any of your friends in this race, or just a random open lobby, as we call it?
Open lobby.
Open lobby. We love that. So let the chaos ensue. It looks like a damn track, to be fair. Was it raining before, or did it rain during the race?
It rained a bit before, then it stopped, then it rained again.
Any guys from that last race that we observed? Similar drivers? Or all new guys?
New guys.
Awesome. Once we watched the opening few laps, how did the qualifying go? How was the kart? Felt?
I think the kart was good, but since apparently the whole sessions booked, so all the karts they could possibly use were they were using it. So there's 30 something drivers on the track.
Wow. And you're 25. Is that the first time that you've driven that, or do you recall driving it before?
I think I've never driven it before.
Awesome. It's always good to take a new kart. Overall, were you happy with the kart? Did it have good handling or good straight line speed?
Yeah, I was happy with the kart.
Yeah, and I can see so far you already established your position. Albeit lost one place, but keeping tabs with the leaders. It looks like number 5 is going to give you a hard time, huh? He's going to be defending a lot.
Yeah, I was wondering why he was defending, because it was a 40-minute race.
Yeah. You're from lap 1 pointing to him. I remember we discussed this last time, that you get a chance to break away on the first lap with a group of top 3, for example. Communicate with each other. Let's catch the leader. It's interesting because you sit behind him for a couple of laps, but then coming into the yellow flag section, I think this is where you're able to gain a good run on him. So obviously you have the wider line. Talk me through this overtake.
I just thought I'd send it because he was going to keep defending, so I just had to overtake him eventually.
And it's small moves like this, and I love how you're communicating them after signaling going forward. Small moments in a race like this where you get the good exit speed. You're fortunate because there's a lap kart on the outside. Driver number 5 takes the title line, brakes a bit later, and then you just go into this pocket of space in the middle. Be able to brake a bit later, as you said, send it, and the outside line now becomes the inside for the next corner. Job done. You can get on with the race. Now we're going to be catching up to, is it Kart 5, if I'm not mistaken, or Kart, what is that?
I think it's 5.
We'll find out soon because, or 31 rather.
I was 31.
Well, Benjamin DRS, and talk me through this phase of the race now. Are you trying to work together with him? Are you trying to pass him? What's your...
I could definitely tell I was faster than him, so I just, just
really good one. In the slipstream, looks like you had a better exit, more powerful engine. I'm not even sure if he's aware you're there. A slight bit of a tap. It's nothing too major. And that's the lead of the race, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So is 21 already being lapped over here?
Yeah.
Must have got involved in a crash or something. Or I don't know. It's quite early on. He's falling back. First time you're leading, I think, like comfortably. What's going through your mind now?
I was just hoping that something bad happened, but unfortunately it did.
Well, we're going to be coming up to that incident coming shortly. There was a bit of back and forth with 31 because you stay ahead for a lap or so. He comes back at you. You can imagine this is all within the first 5 minutes of the race as we're using our timestamps over here. Right now, where is third place? Is he quite far back, or are you guys sort of alone?
I was actually pulling away quite a bit, I remember.
Nice. It's just you and 31, right?
Yeah.
That's sort of how you want it. I mean, a bit of swapping of positions isn't going to harm you guys too much, as long as overall the net time you're pulling away from the guys behind. So the good thing with Daytona races is they get guys of all different levels. So there's constantly going to be back markers. The reason this is a good thing, you're able to go up against unpredictable drivers, people who, aren't as experienced. They're going to do unpredictable things, and then you've got to try to make your way around it. It's honestly the best way to learn different overtaking moves, deal with different drivers, coming up against people who basically are doing karting for the first time. Some of them you'll find are very overconfident, like they'll want to try to battle you, they want to defend their place from you. Other drivers will be quite cautious and they'll feel intimidated. So they might even, not be aware that you're around, and then suddenly they'll turn into your line and they'll be like, oh, you turned into me, but they weren't even aware in the first place. So you've got to be aware of these things. Like, for example, over here, great example. Coming up a high speed, back straight, you can say, and I know he's trying to rejoin the track safely, but he's literally cut across the racing line there. So you just got to be aware of those things. Best thing to do with drivers like this, keep a bit of a distance at first, leave that margin for error. So if they're going to spin or if they're going to try and block your line or something, you have time to react, and then you can go for it. So far though, the moves you're making, it's a big improvement from the first few times you were at Daytona, right? And this is what happens when you practice regularly. You get more confident with your own overtakes, you're confident with your line, and then you know how to set up these moves. So this period of the race is all domination, I guess. Yeah, you're just holding it lap after lap. The good thing is the back markers are keeping you, ready and on pace. What I like to do in these kinds of races is use them as a reference, because although let's say I'm leading this race, this is me driving, I'm leading the race, I'll be looking ahead to that next back marker, locking onto him. How quickly can I catch up? Because as a leader, it's difficult to stay focused because all the pressure's on you. you have everything to lose. The guy in second place, he's just waiting for you to make a mistake, or he's trying to reel you in. So you can use back markers in terms of a similar psychological aspect, lock onto the next guy in front, let me catch him as fast as possible. And then when it comes to the overtaking move, you want to try to pass them as efficiently as possible. So be on the line, on your racing line as much as possible. And then when you think the time is right to go for a move, ideally do it on the racing line where it's similar to like a switchback or something. Otherwise, dive bomb or go off the line for a move like you send it, and then just get back on. So this continues for the entire race, I believe, yeah? Until we come up to some lap traffic. Where's the incident that we're looking for?
I think it's around like 16 minutes. So
okay, so we've just rushed over it. I just need to there we go. It wasn't hard to find. Talk us through this. What are we expecting now?
I was just like, just hopefully they don't like do a stupid mistake and take me out, because there were so many of them.
Lots of back markers, yeah. Full course yellow, and then now is it green? Green flag?
Yeah.
I think you're good to go. All right, let's watch what happens. Coming up to grab on the inside line. Yep, somebody spun right in front, another person spun, Whoa! Everyone spun, even you spun. Well, you didn't quite spin, but you got taken with them.
Yeah.
I had my eye on this guy all the way at the front. You can see he's already spinning halfway there, and then it's just a chain effect. To be fair, you got a decent, pocket of space. It's actually that guy saved it, but then there was another guy in the distance who spun hard on the brakes. Really nowhere to go. I mean, let's slow this down then. If you put it in slow-mo, of course, it's easy to put it in slow motion now and say, you can do this, you can do that. In the moment, it's obviously a lot more difficult. But one more time, just to observe what happens over here. I think your distance that you're keeping is quite good on entry, but suddenly driver in front starts locking up. And then this driver starts going. So this is a good bit of advice I'll tell you from my experience and my misery of races. Whenever somebody spins in a go-kart, right, like this guy, should he go left or should he go right? Should you go in front of them or behind them?
In front.
Yeah, you want to go in front because this is the typical behavior of a kart. You lock the rear tires, you'll be in like a free fall situation, and you're always going to end up rolling backwards. That's just how it is. And I remember it was a Middle East Kart Championship. It was pre-final, right? You got to try to break into top 5. Lap 1, somebody does exactly what this driver's done. What do I go and do? I go around the outside, and he collects me. My race is ruined. And what did my coach tell me right after? He was caught on video saying, "Why did you go around the outside?" So from that day, I learned, no, never go around the outside. And these are split-second things that you have to react to, right? It's easy to put it in slow motion, say, okay, go around the outside. But the more that you're involved like this, I mean, look how fast it goes now. One more time. This is fast pace. Everything's happening so quickly. A spin. You don't have much time to react, yeah?
Yeah.
Faster like that. So, yeah, in my opinion, this is just one of those because there's multiple carts that went into you. And I'm just happy you didn't T-bone this guy and you're able to reduce your speed. Because if you look at this snapshot, like you're almost going to head on, and we've seen some bad crashes where people mount and, topple on top of each other. So good save. I don't think you could have done much more, but you're just stuck in the barriers. There's no reverse gear here. And everyone's just going to go past. This is where you lose all your places.
Yeah.
So from first, you drop down to?
Have.
Oh, and this is just time lost. One thing you could have tried. Was there somebody directly behind you, or was there some space?
Yeah, there was space behind.
So you can manually try to roll the cart back. I don't know if you tried to. Well, you can't actually. What am I talking about? These are these are Daytona Sandown carts. They're not the open wheels. If you have an open wheel chassis, you could try to roll it back. I mean, you're at a slight angle, and it's quite tricky. But that's the best thing to do. Right here, you're just waiting for the marshal to get you, and if you combine the time you spun, which is going to be, let's look at the timestamp bottom left. I just want to see how much time you lost just in this one incident. 17:30 all the way to time that you get back on track. You can say 18:15, a minute and 15 seconds, right? So that's a huge difference.
Couldn't you just go out of the cart and push it?
Do they allow that at Daytona?
No, they do not allow that.
Yeah. You know, Rida, they're very strict in the briefings. They say if you spin out, you cannot get out the cart, and you got to wait for a marshal, which is obviously the painful way. So what happens after this? Where do you manage to battle your way back to?
I think I got to 8th.
Okay, so at least some positions gained, but this is a tough lesson, tough way to learn. I think now in the future, whenever somebody spins out, you're never going to go around down.
Yeah.
When's your next race, Jeremy? When are you planning to go next to Sandown or another track?
I'm actually going indoor karting tomorrow.
Oh, okay. And which track is that?
It's a team sport track.
Team sport. Is it an electric one, or is these still one of the few petrol ones that remain?
An electric one.
Electric. Good old electric. To be fair, try it out. And if you get any footage there, because they also allow you to. Do you have your own GoPro?
Yeah, I've got a camera now.
You've got a camera now. Perfect. So try and get some footage of that. Which team sport track is it?
It's called Gosport.
How do you spell it?
Gosport. It's
okay.
I've seen that one before. It's not the greatest with the car. They run BIKC regionals and they don't really last that long from what I've been told, but it's an alright track. It looks like good racing and good fun there, but apparently the karts are not the greatest of all.
Are you going with some friends?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. It's always good to challenge each other, and really indoor techniques. What would you say, Harry? Since you're a regular team sport driver.
I mean, I haven't gone indoor karting that much recently, but I mean, with those karts that they have there, you got to be quite aggressive. It's quite a low grip track, so kind of force rotation, like give it a bit of full lock, and just be quite aggressive in the steering, and you should do quite well.
I think that's some solid tips there from Harry. Let us know how it goes, Jeremy. We're gonna have to move on to the next driver now. Was there anything else before we move on?
No, that's it. Thank you.
It's always a pleasure, Jeremy, and looking forward to some team sport footage if you manage to get that. Let's just go and take a quick break, check out some Instagram comments. It looks like everything's nice and quiet actually on Instagram and on YouTube too. Not to worry, guys. A lot of people ask, how can you join these track help sessions? Well, go to the KTips website and go to the Academy section. Send a submission to join, and I'm going to admit you in. It's completely free to join. You're going to get access to this Sunday session where you can put your footage, track maps, questions, and also a whole load of other resources. So KTips Academy, completely free to join. It's the place to be. We're going to round off today's session with Harry's footage, and this is another race, I believe. It's not a practice session, is it?
The Brentwood footage was just a filler. I put the Club 100 footage because that's a bit better.
Yep.
This is just an open test.
Oh yes, open
So
test.
I remember someone saying that they were doing this as well. I think it was maybe yesterday. I forgot who it was. I think they were one of Guy's friends from Acton.
Yeah, Nathaniel. That's it, Nathaniel.
Yeah.
Did you meet Nathaniel?
I'm not sure. I was looking for him, but I think he may have been the other day because they did it yesterday as well.
It looks like a greasy, damp, cold day at Wilton Mill.
Yeah, so it was quite wet the day before, and then it was quite damp, and it was definitely wet lines in the first two sessions. This was the, I think, final session, so it started to dry out, but it was still kind of greasy. So I was using kind of the drier kind of inside line to brake on a few of the corners.
I was gonna say this is a really nice technique you're using, and it's the inside, outside. How would you call it?
Kind of a little swerve.
A swerve. That's a nice way. Why are you taking this line? As we'll put it in slow mo.
Well, first off, just to kind of scare the guy up ahead, because well, just to kind of, I guess, assert my dominance. But I mean, it also kind of helps just with the grip because it kind of gives you more kind of meters to travel, so you can brake a bit longer and brake a little bit later.
And this pie is all grippy in the wet, so if you can sort of start on that and then cut across to the outside, as you mentioned, it's going to give you a nice run, and you can see how the gap sort of closes on. Is this? Remind me of the corner name.
This is Christmas, and then
I was going to say
Christmas goes into Boxing Day.
And then coming down into Hairpin.
Lincoln's, yeah, and then this is Ashby into here, and it's quite a weird one because it's downhill, so kind of the water collects as well.
So this was just, I guess, free practice time. You just do laps in a set amount of minutes, is it?
Yeah, you get 4 10-minute sessions.
Perfect. And what was your sort of mindset and plan for these 4 sessions?
Just seat time really, and also in the first session was to purposely spin off. So I can practice to kind of pull my kart on, and it's really hard to pull the kart onto track. I never realised, but I wanted to learn because last season I didn't have it happen once. So I thought maybe if I just spin off an accident, it might help me just kind of learn. And I got out my kart and immediately fell over.
But that's what practice is for. That's a really unique way you've used your practice, where you're simulating things which may go wrong in the race. How quickly can you adapt? Wow, that's a squeeze.
Yeah.
That's a good save at high speed. That's a very, very good save.
Yeah.
Is this your friend or just
don't know them?
You don't know that driver. Okay. I thought
it was very scary.
Absolutely, and very, very, very good save. Sometimes you just got to back off when you come across somebody more defensive like that, and then just go again, kind of thing.
Yeah.
When is the Wilton Mill round? Is it soon then? The official round?
Exactly in a month, actually. So it's this time next month. But I have another day testing at Buckmore in a Club 100 kart because I just need seat time really because I'm kind of heavier, so I'm kind of more disadvantaged. So more seat time will probably get me more knowledge because these karts they change and they're so different when they have, because they rarely change the rubber. Like maybe every 4 races they'll put new tires on, and then sometimes it's not even a full set. They might just put new fronts on, so it's really difficult.
Noted. Well, it's interesting because now you're approaching your 2nd season, right, of Club 100.
Yeah, so last season was kind of like they had a 4-round championship where it was kind of like, I guess you could say, for fun. And then I did 2 of the main championship rounds, and then this year I've like entered the full championship.
That's awesome. So you've obviously learned a lot from the last round. You've done a lot of the tracks. Are there going to be any new tracks for this time that you're doing?
Yeah, there's quite a few. So there's Risington, Ella Park.
Yep.
What else is there? I can't think of any. I mean, I was going to Clay, but I'm not anymore. I might be going to Glenny Gores. What else is there? I'm just thinking Landau, which is in Wales.
Yep.
I'm not sure. I think there's one more. Maybe Lid. I think.
Nice. And you have to wait. Do you score points in every round, or is it like your best 5 results count?
So I think you get 2 drop rounds.
Okay.
But I think it's either it's one of the two. It's either you get to drop your worst 4 like pre-final or finals, or you just drop 2 rounds. I forgot.
Gotcha. What's your sort of plan about that? Is it about you'll miss the rounds which are just way too far for you, or maybe you don't necessarily want to drive at?
I've entered them all
Okay.
because it is possible, but I'm missing one because I'm busy that one day because I'm going to the Silverstone Grand Prix. So
You don't want to miss that, and
Mhm.
maybe just give it a free pass. Which track is that they're doing that week?
Clay Pigeon, and I don't really like that track, so I'm not missing out much.
That's during F1 week.
Yeah.
Wow. So there's going to be a lot of driving that week, you could say.
Yeah.
For some drivers. Well, I'd say this is the time then to dial in, as you said, test things out, and iron out any mistakes, and also test new things out.
Mhm.
So, what are your overall expectations then going into this season?
There's a lot more new drivers. So we have the super lightweight champion coming into this into lightweights, and then we have a few of the faster super lightweights come up as well, and a few fast cadets actually. So
Yeah,
it'll
it's going to be very competitive.
Yeah, definitely. I think I'll be aiming for the A final for most of them, but we'll just have to see how that pans out.
Yeah, and Club 100, they do allow GoPros, but it's only on the kart, right? Or on these Velcro stickers that they.
So you can only use a GoPro on the GoPro mounts which they give you. I was a little bit naughty today. I'm not going to mention anything, but we'll just ignore that. Yeah.
Well, if you got any footage of the rounds which are coming up, we hope to see that, and we wish you success in this year's Club 100.
Mhm.
Any final things you wanted to ask maybe before we wrap up for today?
I mean, I'm testing a junior road tax on Thursday. What's the best way to kind of settle into it?
Oh, I'd say you got a nice bridge, because you've done these rentals with obviously the junior. It's a junior max engine, right? Albeit restricted.
Yeah, but they restrict the throttle a lot.
Yeah.
They're very much slower.
Which track is it you're doing at?
Shannington.
Shannington, nice. And which chassis is it that you're running?
Cosmic.
Cosmic, same as mine. That's awesome. Yeah, you can be pretty aggressive with curbs. I mean, I'm not.
Oh, Shannington's curbs are like walls, so I would probably avoid that.
And it's someone else's kart, right? That you're.
Yeah, so it's a team which they do like test days with it's kind of like ADX, but they're kind of more northern based.
Super. Yeah, going back to some basics, I think that you can try, barring the weather's going to be decent. So lock braking technique. I don't know if you've seen some of the onboards of these top European drivers, how they attack these hairpins in terms of the braking points, where they're really hard on entry. They almost got the car going slightly sideways, and then they're sort of bleeding off the brakes. You do practice similar things in rentals, but because there's so much more speed and a lighter chassis in the older cars,
brakes are better and the tires are grippier.
Oh, it's so satisfying when you get it right. Now, of course, if you overdo it, you can start flat spotting tires and things like that. But progressively build towards that, and really try to aim for neutral steer. You might have seen Red Action's latest reel, where he turned off steering animation, and he's just not turning.
Yeah,
that's like the type of neutral steer you want to try and go with. I don't know how manageable it is in Shannington. It's quite long straights, right?
Yeah, it's quite long straights. The track's quite old, and I think it might be a bit cold that day. So we'll see if that's possible, because obviously you need quite some temperature.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, all the best for that. If you get some footage, be sure to have that on hopefully in next week's or one of the coming weeks track help sessions. Yep.
Thank you.
We're going to round up for today, guys. I thought that was an awesome session. We got lots of different footage going. We had some good comments as well on YouTube. So just as we explained at the beginning of track help, from next week onwards, we're going to be doing karting meetups, but virtually. And that is going to be on the Gran Turismo 7 game. So just what you see in the background over here, I'm going to share my screen. We're going to be running an open lobby. So you can come down and participate if you're part of the KTips Academy. Remember, the Academy is free to join. If you come on the Academy, you're going to find all the instructions on how to join these meetups. Start them off as once a week. We're going to have a practice, qualifying, and then a race format. And then hopefully in the future, once we get more and more drivers, we're going to start doing proper competitions on this and start putting some prizes in as well, depending on how popular it gets. A lot of people say, karting is too expensive. I can't go every week. Well, this is a great alternative. Grab yourself, a secondhand PlayStation from Facebook Marketplace, $100, £100. Grab the Gran Turismo 7 game, and then you got yourself some kind of simulation there. Yeah. So until next week at 6 p.m. GMT, before we actually round off, Ridder's got his hand up.
Yes.
Tell me,
why Gran Turismo 7?
Gran Turismo 7 is the game in my heart. The game I've always played on. And are you on PlayStation? I know you joined late in the session. Are you on PlayStation?
No, I'm on PC.
Wow, is it now? It seems nowadays everyone's on PC, which I'm surprised about.
Because it's more realistic. I have
Of course,
Kart Scratch
absolutely.
and Kart Racing Pro.
Yeah. No, you on PC it's another level of realism, and then you got iRacing as well for the cars. We're keeping things casual over here and accessible for people. As we said, grab yourself a PlayStation, grab yourself Gran Turismo, and you can come and have some fun, hopefully. Yeah. Until next week, guys, at 6 p.m. GMT, we'll see you live on YouTube and Instagram. So take care and be sure to join the Academy. Good night.